and welcome to Your Coaching Journey, a podcast for doctors about coaching. Whether you're a coaching doctor, a doctor who is learning to coach, or a doctor who would like to build coaching into your professional life, then this is the podcast for you. Hi, I'm Helen Leathers, and with me today is my business partner and co-host, Tom Dillon. Good morning, Tom. How are you?
Good morning, Helen. I am very, very well this morning. Thank you very much.
Good.
How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, very good.
Good.
Let's see how many times I can say good.
One more. Come on.
Good.
Good. Excellent. What are we talking about today, Helen?
Well, we thought we'd do a little bit of a roundup of tools.
Tools.
Yes, coaching tools. We've done a number of podcasts now where we've talked about individual tools that can be used in the coaching space. And I thought this would be quite a good time to bring them together and have a bit of a signposting where to look for things.
Yeah, I'm slightly apprehensive. I think you may have bitten off more than you can chew.
Okay, I'm glad you said that.
I think this could be a very long episode.
Yeah, but this was actually your idea.
Was it?
Yes. You said to me yesterday, let's do a consolidation episode. Bring all the tools together.
Didn't you just say, I thought it would be a good idea?
Yeah, that was...
So you stole my idea,
for the sake...
presented it yourself, and then when I challenged it, you went, oh no, but this is your idea.
This is because apparently I don't do enough preparation for the podcast, so I was doing it for you. Let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. We're going to be talking about coaching tools today.
Excellent. Where are we going to start?
Well, I thought we might start with... wheels.
Wheels.
We love a wheel.
We do love a wheel. And the Wheel of Life is our most listened to episode.
It is our most listened to episode. I mean, it's an early one. It's episode 4. It went out in May 2023 when we first started the podcast that month. And it's got nearly 700 downloads.
Wow. Yeah.
Just for that one episode.
Just for one.
So we always keep an eye on it,
Yeah.
see if there's anything starting to overtake it, creep up. But yes, people love it. And it is a classic coaching tool, isn't it?
It's a classic coaching tool, yeah. Very solution focused, isn't it? That kind of measuring things, really scale 1 to 10, isn't it? But just for different areas of your life, potentially.
And it's a great visual tool, isn't it? We can look at an overview of life or something else, because as we mentioned in that episode, it's very versatile.
Yeah, and great to do sort of in a very ad hoc way. So if in the middle of a coaching session you have the idea that a coaching wheel would be a good thing to use, just say, okay, just draw a circle.
Yeah.
Divide it in half, divide it into quarters, divide it into eighths. Now label each segment and now put a measure along each of the spokes. And there you are. It's done. Ta-da. We don't need spreadsheets. We don't need, fancy graphics. We can just do it in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did a variation of it because we love how versatile it is and you can have wheels of anything. And we did a variation of it later in October 23 about... we took the PERMA model from positive psychology.
Yes.
And we put that into a wheel. So we created the PERMA wheel.
Yeah.
I don't think we actually created it, but, I think someone else might have done it.
We created it in the moment. We reinvented the wheel.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've also since used the Wheel of Lifestyle Medicine with our lifestyle medicine delegates on our training course, and there's lots of ways we can use the wheel.
Yeah, well, I quite often, because I work a lot in leadership, so I quite often will do a wheel of leadership and get the person I'm working with to define the elements of leadership that they want to work on whilst I'm working with them. So it is particularly versatile as a tool.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're listening to this and thinking, oh, I want to find out more, episode 4 and episode 27, Wheel of Life,
Wheel of Life and the PERMA wheel.
Have a look.
So what were the elements on the PERMA wheel? Positive emotion.
Positive emotion.
Engagement. Relationships.
Yes.
Meaning.
Yes.
Accomplishment.
Yes.
And health.
Yes.
Yes.
So 6 segments on that one.
I did very well.
Yeah. Anyone would have thought you might have had notes in front of you, but I know you didn't. So, love that. A way to apply positive psychology in the coaching room.
Great. What's next?
Well, for those perhaps coming to this one for the first time or perhaps coming to the podcast now, as opposed to at the beginning, we introduced a framework, a coaching framework.
Tom's Code?
Tom's Code, yes.
Wonder who thought of that.
It wasn't me.
It's a very good framework.
It's a brilliant framework. And we talked about it in episode 10. So that would have been summer of 2023. And it is such a good framework that you created.
It took about a week to create it. I sat by the pool in Tenerife one January. That's what I do when I'm on holiday. I get creative. But it took hours to kind of come up with an acronym that worked, that made sense in terms of a coaching framework.
And you used all your coaching experience, learning to pull this together. And your psychology background, everything. And then we did...
It's all in there.
It's all in there. And we did test it. And, you know, now where we 2.5 years later, nearly 3 years later, every time I use it, I'm just like, I like it even more.
Excellent. Good to hear.
Yeah, it's great. It's brilliant. So
if you're unfamiliar with it and you've not listened to our previous episode, which was episode 10 of the podcast, Tom's Code stands for T for time and topic. So we've got 20 minutes. What would you like to talk about? The O is for outcome. What would you like to have by the end of our conversation? M is for meaning. So either what makes this important to bring to coaching, or if you had that outcome, what would that mean to you? S is for situation. So that's chance for the coachee to tell you all about what's going on for them. C is for change. So what would you like to have happen? Let's move into that change talk. And then O is for options, both kind of expansive, getting all the options out there and narrowing down the options as well. And then we move on to direction. So how are you going to take this forward? What's your next step? And then E is for exploration or exploring. So that, okay, what do you know now that you didn't know at the beginning of our conversation? So it flows.
It does. I love it. And our delegates love it.
Yeah.
We cover it.
What I've noticed is that quite often, and I do challenge people on this because I think people just get a little bit, I'm going to mix it up a bit. So quite often people will ask the meaning question before the outcome question.
Okay.
Which kind of narrows their choices down a little bit then. So if you ask someone, you know, what would you like us in that? Well, if you say, okay, here's the topic, you want to bring this to it. And you say, you know, why is this meaningful? Why is this important to bring this to coaching? Sometimes they do that when it's obviously really important. I think, yeah, you could have left that till after the outcome and then go, okay, if you had that outcome by the time we've finished, what would that mean to you? Makes more sense. Yeah. So, yeah, if you are listening to this and you do use it, stick to the process.
Yeah. What I've noticed is people sometimes miss the C out.
Do they?
Yeah.
Go straight to options.
They go straight to options. And you can't generate options if you don't know where you're heading with those options. And the C, the change, is what you're looking for. So define that. Where are you heading with the change? And then it'll be so much easier because the people who miss it out then get lost in the coaching. Yeah. It's all there for a reason.
It is, yeah. It's a very well thought out framework.
It really is. I mean, you should get like an MBE or something for it. Services to coaching, I think. If anyone's got able to put a word in, I think that would be quite cool. Shall I stop now?
Stop now. Okay. So that was episode 10. If you want to refresh your awareness of Tom's Code, what's next, Helen?
We'll link to one of our coaching approaches that we cover on the diploma.
Which coaching approach are we?
Cognitive behavioural coaching.
Cognitive behavioural coaching, yes.
We, in episode 96, which is more recent, talked through the space model.
The space model.
Did you have to do it in that voice?
Space.
You know
how
on windy days, cats get really kind of...
Get the wind up their tail.
They get the wind up the tail and they jump around and do silly... Well, I've noticed it's very windy today and I think it's maybe having an effect on you. Anyway, the space model.
Yes.
I love that model. I'm going to be doing...
It boldly goes where other models don't go.
Stop it.
Sorry. If you're unfamiliar with Star Trek, you won't get any of that reference.
And I did use Space Model at a recent conference, our online conference.
You did?
I did a demo on that, and it really gets people thinking about patterns of behaviour, new ways of being, that kind of thing. And I like it. Sometimes called the hot cross bun model.
Yeah, just take us through it very quickly.
So Space Model comes from the cognitive behavioural approach to coaching. And it is a lovely circular shape. If you imagine a hot cross bun, so circle with divided into 4. And the circle, it represents the situation that you are thinking about. And then P, A, C and E are the quadrants of that circle that's been divided into 4. And it stands for physiology, actions, cognition and emotions. And they're all the elements that kind of interplay with each other. And as a result of the situation. So it helps us make meaning of the situation. It helps us to think about our actions in certain situations. So we may come across a situation, notice something about how that makes us feel emotionally, notice something in our body that gives us a certain feeling. We might have thought about it and we might act in a certain way. And that becomes usually a habit. It becomes something that we repeat. And we find recurring events that repeat through our lives. And sometimes it's not very helpful. And if you have thinking and therefore actions that are not very helpful and you want to bring about change and deal with those situations differently, stop those patterns of behaviour, this model can really help you to explore that and find a new way of being.
Wonderful.
So we like the Space Model.
Yeah. And that you said that was episode 96.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Very good.
What else would you like to talk about?
What would I like to talk about? Let's go to the SCARF model.
The SCARF model.
So this is a model that comes from social neuroscience and was created by David Rock in conjunction with Matthew Lieberman, who is a neuroscientist. And it looks at the domains within a social environment that impact on us with a threat or a reward response. So the domains are status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. So if any one of those domains is impacted, or an event happens that impacts one of those domains, it will either produce a threat or a reward response. So for someone who's struggling in a social environment, it's normally the workplace, just drawing out a circle, putting those domains in it and saying, what does each of those produce for you in this situation, can allow them to identify why they might perhaps be feeling a threat response. And you only need one of the domains to be impacted for it to be having an impact on you.
I remember when I first saw this model and I was a bit, the more I've looked at it, the more I've talked it through, the more, more familiar I've got with it, the more powerful I realise that it is. And, talking it through with people and seeing their realisations. Yeah. Oh, that's why.
Yeah, and as much as it is sort of social neuroscience, it also has that kind of evolutionary aspect to it of the fight or flight response, that we just get triggered into a threat response potentially. And useful to recognise when that might be happening in a social setting. And generally, it is a social setting, isn't it? Something happens and we go, oh gosh, what will they think of me?
Yeah.
Go to that place. But it also has that flip side of looking at what is rewarding for us in the social situation. And when you are perhaps leading a team, useful to think about what behaviours you demonstrate as a leader that are going to produce a reward response rather than a threat response. So
bring people together.
Yeah. So for example, giving someone some feedback, you'd probably want to do that in private, not in front of everyone else, because that would produce a threat response. You probably want to do some sort of complimentary sandwich. You're great at this. We could do with improving this, but you're wonderful anyway. So there are ways of thinking about this that might produce a reward response. So a great tool, great model to be
Episode
able to
42.
use.
that was.
Lovely. Thank you.
So if anyone would like to visit that and find out how they could use the SCARF model in coaching, episode 42.
What's next?
Well, we cover on the diploma an approach called transactional analysis, a theory. And in fact, there's a couple of tools that we talk about on the podcast from that. So I just thought I'll highlight those. We've got the parent-adult-child model,
Yep.
which is in episode 31, and the drama triangle, which is in episode 72. So those two things together come from transactional analysis, and we explore more in our diploma.
Yeah.
And this is a topic I know you love to talk about.
Yeah, and obviously particularly useful when it comes to relationship issues. If someone's having a particularly difficult time with someone, thinking about how they show up. And the model suggests that we have 3 ego states that we might be in at any one time, and we'll shift between them, but we might have patterns of behavior when we're around certain people. So it might be that when you're with your boss, they show up as a controlling parent and you show up as an adapted child, and you kind of just do what you're told because that's what you learned as a child. That's what you do. Or you might show up as a rebellious child and do the opposite. So it's a really useful, very simple model in some respects. So the way I use it in the coaching room is very simple. It obviously has a deeper therapeutic context, psychoanalytical context, but we don't need to go there in our coaching. So it's just a useful model for people to go, oh yeah, that's what happens when I'm with that person. I become an adapted child. And the notion is that if we have adult to adult conversations, that's probably a better place to be for the most part. So that's really useful. And the drama triangle is a variation on that. So produced by someone later on. Eric Byrne produced the original parent-adult-child model. Stephen Cartman produced the drama triangle. And that looks at the roles of the persecutor, the rescuer and the victim, and how, again, they sort of interchange within a relationship. And maybe within one conversation, people will shift around those different roles. So again, useful to explore where people sit within that.
Yeah, and really useful for greater self-awareness.
Yeah, and I think quite often in the coaching room, you might have someone showing up as a victim because they're overwhelmed, but actually in the workplace, what they're demonstrating is rescuer behaviour. So they're taking on everyone else's work to rescue them and becoming a victim of the situation.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So that's episode 31 for parent, adult, child, and episode 72 for the drama triangle.
Good.
And I think it would be useful just to signpost episode 66, in which we discussed how tools could be used in the coaching room in a non-directive way.
I've completely forgotten what that episode was about. Tell us.
Well, it was whether you, because obviously we encourage non-directive coaching.
Oh, yeah.
And some people will ask us, how do we use these tools without telling people about them? And so it's about how we do that, and the two ways which tend to be to allow those tools and the information you have, the knowledge you have of those tools to inform your coaching. So quite implicitly. And then explicitly sharing, like you mentioned, the SCARF model there. Here's the SCARF model, draw a circle, put the domains in, talk someone through it, and then coach around their issue, their topic that they're bringing, and what reflections they have as a result of the new knowledge you've given them of that model. Yeah,
I certainly think the space model is something that you could work through with a client without them actually knowing you were working through it.
Yeah, I've done that.
You could draw it out for them, but you could just ask them about their thinking and about their physiology and their emotions and the actions they take. And I think the drama triangle, again, is one that maybe if you've got someone that's showing up in the coaching room who is showing up as a victim, you're going to go, they're being a victim here. And you might ask them coaching questions that raise their awareness, raise their sense of self-efficacy, without ever mentioning the drama triangle. You just use that as, okay, they're being a bit of a victim here, and actually they do have the resources available to them to solve this for themselves. I'll ask them some coaching questions, and we'll get them to a place of no longer being a victim.
I did once coach someone who had a background knowledge of psychology, and I simply asked, how aware of the drama triangle are you? And she just went, I'm doing that thing. We didn't need to explore it, draw it out or anything, because she knew about it and she recognised it straight away, what she was doing. So that was quite interesting. So there are more others. There are more tools that we talk about in other episodes of the podcast, but I think that's probably enough of a consolidation for now. So I thought we could ask the question, what tools are we missing? What would our listeners like to know about? If we haven't done an episode already, they might be thinking, oh, what about this tool? So if you've got some ideas of tools that you would like us to talk about on the podcast, perhaps drop us a message.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And any questions, obviously.
We haven't done a question and answer session for ages.
We haven't, have we? So
come on, people. Send us your questions.
And we'll have an explore of some other coaching tools as we move forward.
Thank you for that, Helen. I enjoyed a quick dip into coaching tools and a bit of a refresh of some of those. There are more. We could perhaps do another episode where we explore some different ones.
Yeah.
But that's great. Thank you. Next time on the podcast, we will be talking about the uncoachables.
Is that like the undateables?
I was thinking more about the untouchables. Endless and the whole FBI Al Capone thing.
Okay, I've not seen that.
Just have the image of the pram going down the stairs and there's a gunfight going on and it's very tense.
Okay.
But we're not doing that.
We're
talking about the uncoachables and people that we may consider to be uncoachable, but aren't really. But we'll talk about it next time.
Excellent. Look forward to that.
Thank you, Helen. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.